Hey folks, it's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 107. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. This is critique number 107. This week's topic was found in the fridge, or abstracts found in fridge. I think, who came up with this? Mr. Troy Miller was the guy.
I don't know. Did I come up with that?
This is the guy responsible for that topic, man. How you doing, Troy?
Crap. I'm good. And then not only did we pick something out of the fridge, but we decided that it needed to be a TRIPTYCH.
Yes.
Which
TRIPTYCH. Yep.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, looking at the images, I am mega impressed.
Yeah, people came through like gangbusters on this, you know, with the creativity all the way from the whimsical to the artistic. You know?
Yes.
Did some good work there. I think we may have inspired people to do more triptychs because
I hope so.
It's fun, right? I mean, you put a triptych together, you're not limited by a single frame to get an idea or a story across. You can tell a story much easier with 3 images. And
right. And triptychs need key lines.
Oh my God. These key lines. Let it go, man. Let it go.
Oh,
there's some key lines. Key lines are present in these triptychs. And you did a tutorial on key lines, right? And how to do it. Like
I did.
Impromptu. How'd that go?
It went good. I actually threw it. I didn't mean to throw it in the critique channel, but because Alicia, one of the members, had made a comment that she did it with her pen, and both Steven and I were like, "Oh my gosh, I hope you didn't draw the line because there's such easy ways to do it."
Yeah.
So we
put a ruler on the monitor or on the tablet and draw it, right?
Yeah. So we did it really easy. Yeah. So we made a really quick video of it. So if you ever want to do a key line or a stroke in Photoshop, it's called a stroke. So
just a real quick, the way that I would do a key line or a stroke in Photoshop, like if I had a square that I wanted to put a stroke around, I would probably, what would I do? I would select that box or control select it to make a selection around it, make a new layer, and then stroke just the selection on a separate layer or something like that. Or
it's a combination of those.
Yeah. Or, in some way I would get a square around there, but I wouldn't want the idea for me is I wouldn't want to destroy the pixels in the actual image. I'd want the key line on a separate transparent layer so that I could, futz with it a little bit if I needed to. Is that close?
It's kind of close, yeah. Well, the nice thing is that when you put a stroke or a key line on an object, it's either based on your selection, which is just like a layer effect, or any layer, you can go into layer styles and apply a stroke to that, and then it becomes a layer adjustment, an adjustment layer.
Adjustment layer,
yeah. So you can go back and turn it on, turn it off, so it's non-destructive.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do a proper tutorial on that
we do, because it's one of those kind of things that in photography, like any discipline that I've done for so long, and I always thought was kind of obvious. I didn't realize that, if you had never done it before, it's not easy to find.
Yeah.
How to do it, right? And because we call it a key line, Photoshop calls it a stroke.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to look for a key line, well, it's not there. So
yes.
Yeah.
There's just many, like my grandfather would say or used to say, there's tons of different ways to skin a cat. So that's a southern saying for all you cat lovers out there, myself included. But this means that there are many paths to get to the same destination.
Right.
So, all right. Well, speaking of many paths and speaking of Alicia, you want to kick it off with hers?
Yes. Yeah. Jump in there. Yeah. I dig it.
There's Alicia. Let's look at that. Found in fridge triptych. So
look at that beautiful key line. Look how she grabbed the color from the oranges. Like, well done.
Yeah.
Extra points for the key line.
Extra points for the smiley face.
Yeah. This is exceptionally well done. I love the fact that the lighting is consistent throughout. That's one of the things, when you bring composites together, you got to make sure your lighting is intentional.
Yeah. Yep.
Depending on the subject, of course. So,
well, I'm curious what you think about the key lines, though. Like, there's multiple key lines in here. There's the orange that surrounds all three, and then there's the individual yellowish that surrounds each individual element of the triptych. Should she have just gone with one, or like either one box, or is two cool? What do you think?
I think it's preference. In this situation, I think that the orange is probably a little bit too bold, so I probably would have reduced the opacity of that down to like 10 or 15%, so it was just barely there. So then the other three images kind of stand off of the page a little bit more.
Yep. And I think I would want to see a little bit more space around, between the yellow border and the orange border. It just feels a little bit crowded in there. Like maybe like the space that's between the triptychs, the vertical space.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be equidistant around the entire thing, just so that it just feels a little looser. It feels a little tight to me. I love the images, and I love the processing. I love the background. I love the subject, the whole thing. Feels a little bit tight with that key line so close.
Right. I do love the toning of the image. I like the shallow depth of field that's used. I'm wondering if she shot this with her new 85. Maybe that last image for sure, because that's really shallow.
A nice fall off on there. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to this except for maybe just control the highlights a little bit. The center image feels better for me tonally. I like how the highlights are muted, and it just feels sort of like a muted image, where the bananas are a little bright and the highlights on the oranges at the end, or the tangerines at the end, are a little hot.
Yeah. No, here's a Rorschach test for you. Did you see a smile in that middle element instantly?
Yes.
Because I saw a bikini.
A bikini.
I was like, that's a nice bikini. Oh, it's a smile. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's how my mind works. Sorry, I didn't make me.
It reminds me of that movie. Oh my gosh, I just lost it. He's a lizard in the desert, and he's hunting for water. And
a wizard in the desert.
No, he's a lizard.
A lizard hunting.
It's animated.
I don't know. I kind of think
it'll come to me. I don't know.
It'll come to you before the end of the critique, or you'll Google it or something. All right. Well, Alicia, thank you for this triptych.
Bravo.
This is awesome. I want to see more. Like now that we've done this topic, I want to see more triptychs.
And kudos to all the makers. If we don't mention it, this takes a lot of work to set this stuff up, and that was exceptional. So that's really nicely done.
It's the setup and the processing at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So very nice.
And now we know that Alicia has bananas and oranges. So
yes, absolutely. Although I hope she's consumed those oranges, because they look like they may be in their last couple of days. All right, here we go. On to the next one. Armando Brook is up next.
This is great.
Isn't that cool? Everybody has fruits and vegetables in the fridge, looks like.
This reminds me of an image that somebody we both know made of a banana floating with a knife.
Me, I did that.
Yeah, right? I mean, this kind of gives me that sense and that feeling a little bit. I like the creativity. I like how the edges line up, so it feels like one continuous, fruit or vegetable.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I do wish the lighting was a little bit more consistent, like they were all lit exactly the same. So the carrot, you've got a reflection facing the camera and a highlight on the top and the back, where the banana doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So I would like that to be a little bit more consistent, even if you got to fake it, right? Even if we know the banana isn't usually shiny, but you'd want to fake it. But
you could have made it shiny, like spray some water on it or glycerin or something, right?
Yeah.
To give them, or on all three of them, just to give them that kind of semi-specular quality.
Yeah, just a little bit of glycerin or vegetable oil. You can wipe them down with vegetable oil or coconut oil. Those kind of things make vegetables and stuff look really good.
Yep. Putting on your nitpickery hat. On the left, on the squash, I'm guessing that is, you see the sort of halo around the edge of it?
Yeah. There's also on the banana tip, you can see.
Yeah, that's just a little bit. Yeah. How would you get rid of that?
So that line is from masking, and it's because it's lighter than the subject matter or the background. You would want to go in with a stamp tool and choose the darken mode. and select from the inside. So select from the banana or the zucchini side and just paint over that.
Yeah.
And it'll darken it. You could do the same thing from the black side, but it would darken the subject itself. Yeah.
I think I tend to gravitate towards, I mean, not that there's any one right way, but I like this implementation where you got the squares on the continuous background. In this case, it's white. Maybe a little bit heavy-handed with the drop shadows around those squares, but I like that they're sort of lifted off there a little bit. So maybe I would have dropped that opacity down or blurred the drop shadow a little bit more to make it less obvious. But I kind of like that. I like that they're kind of lifted off a little bit. It makes it feel like it's a gallery. This is a whole wall in a gallery, and you're like standing in front of it, looking at it from left to right. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see this, like a 60-inch display or a 10-foot display or something like that. And these are gigantic, right? And that's the drop shadow you see behind there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, with a point fluorescent light source or daylight light source above and to the left. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All of these pieces I would love to see big hanging.
That's the triptych, right? They kind of want to be big. They're begging to be big. Thank you, Armando, for that. Next shot up is from Craig Stanfley. So
I know.
You see what he did here, right?
It did, and you know what? I didn't actually look at the image. I didn't bring it up really big until just now, and so it took me a second to figure out what was going on at the end. But I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and if you audience, if you cannot grasp what he did here. Consumption of Corona beer, of course, it has to be Corona, right? So
yeah, that's his
consumption of Corona beer leads to blurred vision at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
The lime is now in the bottle. I wonder if he actually consumed this. He probably did.
Oh, of course.
He's Australian. Of course, it'd be illegal to pour beer out, right? That's alcohol abuse.
Right, and then the first one you couldn't have just stopped there. You had to try some more, right?
Yeah. This is cool. I love that the Corona is missing in the middle one because it's like, okay, where'd it go? Something's happening.
Right,
and it comes back, and so you see what happened.
Yeah. This is a super cool concept, and I could even see this working commercially, right? Like this could be a drink responsibly, ad by Corona, and you're just like, yes, I'm down.
Yeah. Or a caption that says the 3 steps to happiness. Step 1.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good job, Craig. Good job.
Exactly. The lighting is spectacular. The frame is clean. The key lining is good. The triptych looks solid. I like the gray background, the dark gray background. Each image itself is really solid, right? So that's another important thing about a triptych is you want to make sure that each image stands on its own merit.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect job.
A story. Yep, this is one of them that, and they don't necessarily need to tell a story. Like for example, Alicia's. Or even that one, like Alicia's, it's not necessarily telling a obvious story. It's just these three things are related together, both in color palette and what they are, fruit, right? Right. This one too, and then you get here, and this is a literal story. So this is something that you can write a story around, or do an ad campaign or something.
Yep.
Cool stuff, Craig Stanfley. Good job, man.
Well done.
All right. Speaking of well done, James Glennie's up next. This is cool. See, this is called having fun while you're on, shelter in place orders. It's like all the photographs that are made during this window of shelter in place, you're like, oh yeah, I made that when I could leave the house.
Yeah. I think that what's going to happen post-COVID is we're going to be talking about things, and somebody's going to look at an image, or we're talking about an experience, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, so when did that happen? You'd be like, oh, that was, back in March, end of March. Like, oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. We understand.
Yes. Stir crazy.
Yeah.
But this is good. I mean, not to take anything away from this image. This is great. I love the concept. I love the simplicity of it. I love the lighting, the background. the laser bolt, which what I said
Yeah.
in the comments, I said, his artistic use of shutter speed to capture that laser bolt.
Yes. Yes. Well, how did you, what was the camera settings for that?
Exactly. Those things move fast. So,
Yeah. This is great. No, this is super fun and gave a good giggle and that's awesome and very creative. I like it.
When I first saw this, who I thought did it before I looked at the name?
Yes, you thought Freddie did it.
I thought Freddie Sedano did this because he's the toy master. So.
Yeah. Trust me, Freddie looked at this and thought, shoot, I should have done that.
He's stealing my look, man. What's up with that, James Glennie? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I love it. This is fun. Perfect.
Yeah, this is
too.
Well done. Yeah.
Again,
well done.
Storytelling, right?
Yes.
All right, next shout out is from Lamb. Lamb's over in Malaysia. I hope you're being safe over there, sir. And this is his TRIPTYCH submission. What do you think?
Very cool. Very cool. I like the texture that's happening on it. I like the subject matter because now I'm hungry. Mm-hmm. And I think that it conveys the food option really well. I'm struggling with the negative space at the top. I feel like maybe if this was like for a menu or something, you would have a logo in there, and it would work a lot better.
Yeah, or a paragraph of some sort. Right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that would be. Yeah, you could definitely take this concept.
A little headline, bold, and then below it, some quippy paragraph about what this dish is and why.
A poem about oranges.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. But what do you think of his processing? Because he said he shot this and then he assembled the TRIPTYCH in Microsoft Word and then photographed the screen to get this sort of textile pattern over the images.
Oh wow, that's great. You use what tools you have,
An
right?
image of an image. Yeah.
That is very cool. No, I never would have thought that that's where that texture came from. But I like the texture. I like how it sort of obscures the image itself. I mean, I wonder if this would have been interesting where the smaller image at the bottom had no texture, right? So like it would create depth because the two big images on the side would feel like they're further away, or because they're obscured, and then the main image on the front would have no texture, so it would tend to pop out more. So create depth in a two-dimensional image. Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. It makes you stare at it, though, for sure. Like, I'm staring at it, and I'm trying to figure out, is it even all the way around? I see it's not quite even on the left side, but even those imperfections, I think, sort of add to it a little bit, because it's not perfect. Like, I think he did that intentionally, because you look at the image in the middle has a little bit of space between it and the image on the left, but on the right side, they're flush against each other. See that?
Yeah. I have to admit the two lines touching on the right and the offset at the bottom left with the center, those things my brain is very unhappy with.
You're fighting it.
Yeah.
OCD.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. They've got it. Yeah. That's just it's super hard for me to get past that. But that's not really what the image is all about. So.
Yep. It's art, man. You can't.
Yep.
You can't put art in a box, man. Literally.
Sure you can. Then it would be new art.
There you go. You photograph it, and there you go.
In that box, there's an amazing piece of art. Just trust me.
Just trust me. It's tremendous. All right. So moving on to the next shot is from Michael DeRay. This one is killer. I love the color palette. I love the, I just like this image. I like this image.
I love it.
I even like how the images on the left and the right are similar sized, and the one in the middle is not, but it's growing out of its container there. I like it a lot. I think the one negative thing that you would say is you don't like the fact that the onion shoots at the top are being chopped off. Because you hate that. And you might say it's too close to the bottom of the frame in the middle one too. But, other than that, you like it.
Being close to the bottom doesn't bother me because I feel like that's that sort of breaking the pattern, It's a little tight at the bottom, but yeah, the top of the onion, I'm going to call it an onion. I don't know what the heck it is. Leaving the frame, like to me, it doesn't need to do that. Twisting it slightly to the right, trimming those things off, keeping it inside the frame would be much better for my brain. And then we're losing some highlight detail in the yellow. But that could be mighty. That could be just the web, not just the internet. Yeah, just compressing it.
And the border that he has around this, sort of that double lined, two black lines with a white line in the middle. I think I would have preferred just a simple one or the other, like black all the way around everything, or white all the way around everything, and maybe slightly thicker. I mean, maybe shrink the triptychs down a little bit to give them a little bit more of a border in there.
I agree. Yeah, I think black would work really well. There's enough highlights in this image as it is, but I think a nice black border all the way around would be really fantastic, and right through the middle, all the same thickness.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yep. But
I love this. This is fantastic. This is, to me, fine art that, with all the colors and the combination of the colors and the patterns and the swirls and the reflections, and
it's good stuff.
Yep. This is classical still. Yeah.
All right. Well, Michael DeRay, well done. Good job. You are, at the very least, making both of us hungry looking at all this stuff. All right. So moving right along to the next triptych. Oh, that's it. That's all we have this week. Wow, we're back at Alicia's. Man, what do you think? So we had a lot of good ones in there, man.
I don't want to pick.
It's like picking your favorite child.
Well, I only have one, so that's easy.
Well, that's easy. Well, no, there's a cat over there, man. Come on.
Oh, well, there's definitely a favorite cat, Saturn for sure. I'm gonna say Michael's. Michael DeRay's is definitely my favorite. I'm looking at them again. I truly love them all, and I kudos to everybody and all the effort everybody put in there. I think it's the colors. I think for me, it's the colors and the combination of the plates and the backgrounds and the textures, and it really just screams to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, but what a great crop of images.
Oh my gosh, right? I know.
Yeah, people did a fantastic job. Yep. So everyone should be proud of these submissions. And now that we like this topic, you can be sure that there'll be more triptychs. What is it called when you do 4 images? It can't be a quadtych. Is it a quadtych?
Look at my not a triptych. This is not a triptych.
This is not a triptych.
This is a collage.
4, like the Andy Warhol, where they do the 4 sort of prints in there. What is that? I want to know what that is. Somebody in the community is going to know. They're going to comment and say, "Oh no, that's a conflagulary." Yeah, that's a conflagulary print. All
right. That's our topic for next week is a conflagulary.
Yes, you must create a conflagulary with a conundrum attached to it somehow. God. Make it happen, people.
This is what happens when you don't get to socialize with real humans in a real space.
Exactly. And it is in the middle of the afternoon, so I'm on this liquid right now. This is Mexican Coke with the
I ran out of Diet Mountain Dew. So I got plenty of toilet paper. So
see another roll of toilet paper.
Diet Mountain Dew.
I'm gonna start toilet papering people's houses. So next week.
Yes, next week.
So this week was Triptych Found in the Fridge. Yep. I think we're going to go with next week, your routine in close-up. So artistic shots of some part of your daily routine in close-up. So artistic close-up. So, that could be... I did a shot once of my hand sort of in the shower, testing the shower water for temperature. That's part of my day. You could do something that's part of your getting ready routine. It could be you fixing your coffee, some close up of that. That's really interesting. Even you putting on your shoes in the morning, something that's interesting. That's just a snapshot of you that somebody that knows you would look at it and say, oh, as Troy doing his thing. So nothing naughty, please. Nothing naughty. Part of your daily routine, the safer work part of your daily routine.
Oh, I have a prediction for a shot that I will tell you off the air. Well, only because if I say it, then nobody will do it, right? But I have a prediction, and then that way we can validate it and tell me if this shot shows up or not.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it when I click the stop record button.
I do have. Are we going to talk about the moon?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So let's talk about the moon.
Yeah, real quick. So we are sitting on March 30th. And as of, I'm going to look at the calendar real quick. As of March 30th, this coming Tuesday, which would be the 7th, is the full moon, which is going to be the supermoon. And I just suggest that everybody get out, not too far out, right? And get out there and get a shot of the moon. The moon is going to be available for you. I was going to show you some images now. A lot of people think that, oh, I've got to have like a super long telephoto. If I don't have that telephoto, I won't be able to photograph the moon.
Yeah, me. That's what I said.
Right. And that's not necessarily true. So let me get rid of this right here. So one of the things that you can do is, this is with a really long lens. This was many, many years ago. That's with a 400 millimeter. That is actually with a 70-200. That was at Crater Lake.
That's a 70-200. Nice.
Yeah, this is a 70-200 out in Joshua Tree. And I just
were you able to get the moon that big by just walking closer to the moon? Or
yeah. You just, take as many steps towards the moon as you can.
Zoom with your feet.
Zoom with your feet. Yeah. Now the important thing about shooting the moon is that go out a couple days before the full moon, because then you get light like this on the foreground. And you have to realize that the light coming from the moon is the Sunny 16 rule, which means ISO 100, f16 for 1/25th of a second. So it's the same exposure as if sunlight's hitting the ground. So that's why we see a lot of overexposed moons at night, things like that. They're blown out. That's more natural. So if you go out a couple hours or a couple days before the full moon, you're going to get that moon to show up.
And what are some tips? And while you're talking about that, I'm going to bring up. I just did a quick Google search for supermoon, and let's put that on the display. Google Chrome. Here we go. Okay. So what are some thoughts in terms of composition to get a good shot? Because I'm looking at a lot of these, and the ones that strike me the most are the ones that have a foreground element in there.
Right, and that's really the important thing is that you want to pick a foreground element. Now, if you just want to shoot the moon, that's fine, but a foreground element is really best. And you can also shoot by the light of the moon. You don't always have to just get the shot of the moon. You can always wait until the moon is up, and the couple days before and the couple days after the full moon, it's going to be bright at night. So go out and do, photograph a building or photograph your house or photograph something in the backyard or shoot some plants or something by moonlight, and you'll be surprised. It looks a lot like daylight.
Yeah.
Or shooting into the stars, because with a lot of moonlight, you can shoot into the stars and shoot into a subject that's lit by the moon and actually pick up those stars in the shot. So that's actually pretty cool as well.
Yeah. So critical component for doing one of these kinds of shots is a tripod, obviously, right?
Yeah, a tripod or a really fast lens. I mean, if you have I could shoot with the Z6 or Z7, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 ISO, 1.4, you can handhold that stuff. If you want to do star trails where you get the stars moving, you want to do that on a tripod for sure. And that's a little bit different technique, but the moon will be lighting the foreground, which is nice. You get little streaky stars behind it.
You know what? You should do a tutorial, man, on moon photography.
We can, yeah. Now that image,
we should totally do that. Why not? We should do it too.
Now that image that you just had up, that's infrared.
Let's bring that up again. Okay, this one.
Yeah, I've got a couple infrared shots in here. This is over Crater Lake. I know it looks like it's composited.
I was going to say that has some Skyloom fingerprints on there.
Nope, it's not. Yeah, these are not composited. These are infrared.
Oh, look at that.
This was actually on my way home from WPPI a couple of years ago. And
that has an Ansel Adams feel to it.
I know. I love it. This is actually out at Moda Lake. And I think I have one more in there, maybe one more. Yeah, here you go. So this was shot with a 70-200 on the way back from Vegas, and you almost can't see the moon in the sky because of the haze. But if you're shooting infrared, that moon will pop out. So if you have an infrared camera, go try it out. Go shoot the moon in the afternoon.
So it just removes the clouds, basically.
It removes the blue light. It just blocks out. You don't see the blue light. Plus, it's more sensitive to infrared light. So the infrared light is bouncing off the moon itself, and that's what you're exposing for. So it tends to stand out as opposed to visual light.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So go chase the supermoon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to shoot it. Yep.
Yeah. So and that starts on the 7th, right? So it's at its what was the word? The perigee? Is it perigee? It is at the perigee. The perigee is when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth, the lunar perigee. The lunar apogee is when it's at its farthest point from the Earth. So it will be at its perigee on the 7th, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, and I'm looking online, and you can always look up any apps like PhotoPills is a really good app for chasing the moon and figuring out, because it's got a 3D augmentation app in it. I can't share it right now because it won't connect, but you can hold it up and actually see the arc of the moon and where it's going to be at what place, so you can time it when it rises. And
so you can go to your select spot with your foreground elements and all that days before it's going to actually be in that position. Use that app. And see in augmented VR kind of where the moon is going to be in your scene, so you can do the math on exposure and everything, and just go grab it at the time when you know where the moon's going to be. Right,
and so like for example, on April 6th, the sunset is at 7:15 and the moonrise is at 5:55, which means that as that sun is setting, the moon is coming up. So you're going to get that nice, beautiful apple glow, golden hour light. You might even get some earth shadow. That's where you look on the horizon, on the opposite the sun, you get that blue, and then the right above the ground, and then you get the orange above it. That's called the earth shadow. And then the moon rises right through that.
Oh, nice.
And you can only get that like the day before the full moon, the day or two. So
yeah, you got to do your homework with this stuff. This is that planning piece of photography. And I think a lot of people, and we'll wrap this up after this. A lot of people get into photography thinking that it is a serendipitous art. In some ways it is, right? Street photography, oh, look at that nice shot of that lady in the shadow and the interplay and all that. Let me get that click, and you process it, and you get a great shot. But a lot of it, like this stuff, and then I'm learning, especially astrophotography, which is one of the main reasons I bought a full frame camera, is the actual clicking that button is the easiest part of the whole thing. A lot of it is the pre-planning, what the shot's going to look like, figuring out where the celestial body that you're trying to capture is going to be on Earth at a particular time. And then there's some luck involved in there with cloud cover. So So I'll share a quick little formula for everybody. If you want to go out and you want to do some star trails during the moon, so get the moon lighting the foreground, do this late in the evening, point up at the sky where you can see some stars, do 4-second exposures. And do them continuously with an intervalometer. So do a 4-second exposure, bam, do another 4-second exposure, bam, do another 4-second exposure for as long as you want to go. And then you're going to assemble those in Photoshop. And I can't explain to you how to do it. We'll have to do a quick share on how to do it. Don't go out and do a two-hour exposure. You'll increase noise, overheat the sensor. It doesn't work really well. And if you run out of battery, you lose the whole exposure. So a 4-second exposure. Now, these are some great shots in here. Do you need to have a neutral density filter or anything on the camera in order to do this, or is this just straight glass to glass, glass to sensor?
Yep, straight glass. Yep. Nice. Yep.
With a relatively wide angle lens, right?
There's Joshua Tree. I know right where that hill's at. On SLR line,
right in the middle. This one?
In the middle. That one, yeah. I know right where that's at. Oh, that's so funny. That's a cool shot.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, and notice how the stars are tearing off left and right down the middle. That's because you have a North Star and you have a South Star.
Oh, wow. That's so crazy. Look at these. These are crazy shots. I love this stuff.
These are actually very easy to do. Very easy. We'll have to do a little demo on how to assemble them. So if you guys go out and shoot and you get those images processed, get 20, 24-minute exposures, 24-minute exposures.
Thank you. 20, 4-minute exposure.
Right. Yeah, we can do a little demo on how to assemble them in Photoshop. Yeah.
So 4-minute exposure is wide open or stop down, or
I think the formula is 4 minutes, ISO 400 at f4.
Oh, so 444. Okay.
I think, but you have to kind of do the math. So I like to shoot with my 24-1.4. So you have to figure that out. Normally, what I do is I go out, I do a 30-second exposure, look at the exposure, and say, okay, I'm there, and then I just ramp it up to 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. In my backyard, we have some really. I want to say they're like maybe 30-foot tall, maybe taller cypress back there.
Oh wow, yeah.
And they're all in a row, like like guardians, because cypress are, the legend goes they guard cemeteries. So let's hope they're not doing that now. But you know how they kind of line up and they look majestic, and you look straight up, it's just these converging line trees that would look fantastic with a star trail around it. If I'm able to do one of these kind of shots in the backyard, that'll be my.
You can do it. Yeah,
that will be my shelter in place memory shot right there.
Yeah, do it. Go do that. Go create those images, and then we'll do a tutorial. We'll do like a little demo, and we'll assemble them and show how to assemble them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you'll shoot star trails everywhere once you realize, like, hey, that really wasn't that hard.
I know. It'll be like, once you figure out, once you figure out how hammer and nails work, everything becomes a nail, right? So.
And photo pills is another one of those amazing utilities that I can go in and this isn't going to show real well, but what you can do is I can go in and I can say, well, I want my star trails to be that long in the sky, and it tells you that's a 4-hour exposure.
Wow. And so in order to do a 4-hour exposure, that's where neutral density filters come in, right?
No.
How would you do a 4-hour exposure and not overexpose it?
It's all 4-minute exposures. 4-minute exposures for 4 hours. So the reason that you want to do
4-minute exposures explain that in a way that carbon-based life forms can understand it.
Okay, so here's the drawback. If you just go out and do a 4-hour exposure, your battery's going to die, and if your battery dies, you lose the entire exposure. Mm-hmm. That's it. You lose everything. Plus your sensor overheats and all that kind of stuff. So you do a 4-minute exposure, the star moves a little tiny bit. Then you do another 4-minute exposure on another image. It moves a little tiny bit. So do that for a total of 4 hours.
Okay. And that's where your intervalometer comes in, because you can set the intervalometer to just set and forget it and do it. And you just come back 4 hours later and, hopefully nothing happened to your stuff. Right?
And then you'll have, 4 into 60 is, I don't know, I don't want to do the math, but you'll have like so many images left over, right? When you're done, those are the images that we bring into Photoshop in post and we assemble in a way that now you're going to take all those little dashes, if you will, and you're going to assemble them into one long continuous streak of the star.
We're doing a tutorial on that. So, I'm going to shoot it. And we're going to do a tutorial on it.
Yes.
Because I'm curious, once I understand the exposure 444 and all that stuff, but I'm curious, once you get it into on your hard drive, what's the flow from there? I understand it's assembling everything in just little notches of stars and making one image out of all those. But do you start and capture one and do your edit and ripple those edits across all the images and then flow them in and stack them up in Photoshop? And
I have to show. I got to show. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of get it. I'm right there. I know enough to be dangerous right now.
I will promise you that once you've shot star trails and you realize like you can shoot star trails at any time, you're gonna shoot them. You're just gonna see star trails everywhere, and you're gonna go like, oh gosh, I got 30 minutes. I could do a 30-minute star trail. That'd be really cool for this night landscape. I get a little streak in the sky, right?
Yeah. What a great time. What a great time right now to get something that you can obsess over like that.
Yep.
right? That you can focus on and just sort of, that's the great thing about photography, because it's an insular solo kind of endeavor, and it's artistic and technology and science. And if you're shooting models, psychology, all that stuff. So it's that.
And it's different for everybody. Everybody approaches it differently. So there's just so many ways that you can use it. So star trails are awesome.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. So this next critique, 107, is your routine in close-up. So we're going to stick with that. We're going to do our sort of moon star trail event at some point this week. Let's commit to doing that at some point this week. We'll record it. So whenever we pick, if you miss it, you'll be able to see it. Right. And then let's do a next week maybe, or the week after, let's do a star trail critique.
Yeah, let's actually do the star trail critique on maybe the 21st, because there'll be no moon.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be super easy to do a star trail. Like it'll be great.
Okay, let's put that on.
Then you can, we can talk about light painting, how to light paint your scene while you're doing your star trail, and all that stuff.
I love that. I do a talk called Time Travel for Photographers, and I love talking about this kind of stuff. Once you understand how as much as we can understand light, because we still don't understand light 100%. So why? Like here's the thing that blew my mind while I was in the Air Force, and part of the training before they even give you your camera was understanding light and what it is and the science of it and wavelengths and speed and all that stuff, how light's created in the sun. But one of the things that blew my mind was, if you are on a motorcycle, let's say, and you fire a gun while you're going 60 miles an hour, the speed of that bullet is the speed of the bullet plus the speed of the motorcycle, right? That fails with light because light has a finite speed and it goes the same speed no matter what. So it's not cumulative. So you can't break the speed of light barrier by getting on a motorcycle and expecting that the flashlight that you shine or your headlight on the motorcycle is going 386,000 miles per second plus 60 miles an hour. It's not. It's still the same. It
would also be a fantastic talk that we should do is just talk about light, how light works. Bring on a couple photographers, because I think that a lot of people are really confused about the way light works and how it affects itself, other light sources. And I think it can make a big difference in how we approach subjects and how we use light.
Just exploring. It sounds nerdy and geeky, but it really is fascinating from a photography standpoint. If you intrinsically understand what a photon is and how it reacts, and then you back up and you realize that the camera is just recording that, and then that you start unpacking that, then shutter speeds make sense. That whole bucket of water analogy and all that stuff starts making the aperture, everything starts making sense when you know that the thing that you're trying to record, how it behaves, and that the thing that you're recording it with is just making an attempt to help you control it somehow. So, it's cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Well, I got nothing to do, so.
All right, Ron, I got 3 topics here. I got light, I got star trails, I got the moon here, I got all kinds of stuff on here. So, cool. All right, the 21st is going to be our topic. Star trails is going to be the topic for the 21st. So you can get a head start on that one by practicing your star trails now. And then, you can also shoot your routine, your abstract. What do we call this? Your routine in close up. So you can shoot.
You have to read your note. I love it.
I do. I'm old. I got to have notes here. Your routine in close up is the next one. So 7 days from today. Cool, man. All right. That's it. Our favorite was Michael DeRay, right?
Michael DeRay. They're all amazing, though.
They're all amazing, but I'm a fan of this one, Michael DeRay. So really cool. So you are this week's hero, man. So congratulations. And we'll leave it right there. We'll see you all next week. Troy, well, I'll talk to you multiple times this week as we work through all this stuff. But everyone have a safe and stress-free week. Don't listen to all the doom and gloom that's happening in the news and from your friends and family talking about all this negative stuff. do what you can with what you have and move forward and be happy. So,
That's right. Yeah. These times are gonna make for great stories in the future.
Absolutely.
Where we're all sitting around together sharing snacks.
It's so sad that it took a deadly virus to bring us all together. And
I cannot wait to stand in line at Starbucks. I can't wait.
I know. But I wonder, I'm not going to take it on a tangent, but I wonder how long it's going to take after this. And if even for it to go back to the way it was before, in terms of you not even being cognizant of putting your hand on the door to open Starbucks, to open the door. Like, now you're thinking about that, right? Like,
I've always been germ aware. So
I've been germ aware. Like, my pet peeve is, why do they make you touch the door to leave the restroom, but you don't have to touch the door to enter it? That's just me. Like, literally, I don't know about women's restrooms, but men's, it's like, okay, you got to touch the door to get out because you got to pull to get out. But to get in, you can just elbow and get yourself in there, right? Why do I got? That's, your hands are nastier exiting, dude. Come on.
Oh my god.
This is what goes through my head. Or touching gas pumps. That's the other thing. All gas stations should have rubber gloves there. So, cause I remember one time I saw this guy pumping gas. He's just like, just hawking on his hand and then grabbing the thing.
That's bad anytime.
Oh god, now it's worse. All right, man. We'll leave it on that hawking the loogie topic. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. Cool. All right. We'll see you all next week. And you be safe, Frank Miller.
All right, you too, my friend.
All right, take care. This is TWiP.